Well, good evening. Welcome, everybody. Who do we have here? We got Ronnie Julian, TK3D Prints, David Clark, Rick Landon, Rex Waldy, Terry Murphy, 3D Printing and Painting, and my good friend Jerry Knapp down in Vegas, David Clark, David Sell, Larry Hall, Paul Cumber. Hello, everybody. Walport, Oregon. Well, Larry Hall, Wellport. Minnesota, David Sell. Barnsley, Yorkshire, England, David Clark. Well, welcome, sir. Chesapeake. Wow. John Kitchen from Florida. Well, hello, everybody. I've got you guys up here. Yeah, you guys can see what I'm doing. I've got you guys up here on this screen. Brian is not going to be joining me tonight. Unfortunately, he is under the weather. And he won't be joining us tonight, however, but that's okay, because we're here. We can answer questions. Victor Novak, hello, sir. I'm back. I'm up and running. My finger is all better. I know I've probably said that weeks and weeks in a row. It's almost fully recovered now. Still have a little problem straightening it. Big Kitch 72, hello. We had an amazing week this week, and I can't tell you guys how excited I am about the week we've had. We had a Dremel Digilab 3D45 dropped off by Dremel this past week, and we're going to be doing a review on that. I've been printing with it for the last week, and just to see how well it prints. I did use some of their models, and I sliced some of my own. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Hello from Wisconsin, Chris Travis. One Raz, hello, sir. We've got David White from Los Angeles. Looks like we're getting a little buffering. Jerry's letting me know. Hello, there's Mark Baker. Why are we getting buffering? We should not be getting any buffering. We are getting buffering though, so just give me a second here. I'm going to see what I can do about that. Let me just see why this is buffering so badly. Task Manager, that's what I want. See what I can turn off the Task Manager. Well, it looks like everything here has to be on. Well, we're not using a lot of CPU, so we should have a stable connection. All right, so it's gone back to being a stable connection again. Okay, so I apologize if we are getting big buffering. It may settle itself out. Ken Jansen, is Brian going to be here? No, not this evening. Brian is under the weather. He phoned me this morning to let me know that he's not been feeling well the last few days. And this morning it kind of all came to a head for him, so he's resting up at home, and I wish him well, and I hope you guys will do the same. I know you guys all wanted to talk about this Creosum update that Brian did the video on Wednesday, or for Wednesday's video. I don't know much about the Creosum video, or well, I know much about the Creosum video, but I don't know much about the Creosum back end. I know what it does. Do I know how to fix any of the issues you guys might be having? Unfortunately, no. I have to do a little bit more of my own research into it. Ben Brady, hello, sir. There's RT. Raymond Emsley. Mr. Richard, how are you tonight? Raymond Emsley, I'm doing fine. I will be in the shop tomorrow. Just so you know. David Stockdale, hello everybody. Yes, we do wish Brian so that he gets better very soon. So we are going to talk about 3D printing tonight. I want to talk a little bit about this Dremel DigiLab printer. Some of my initial thoughts on it. It does beautiful prints. One of the cons to this printer, and you guys will see my full review, but one of the major cons that I want to bring up here tonight is that it is quite a noisy printer. It's all built out of injection molded plastic. Everything is like the whole case and everything is injection molded plastic. And it makes quite a heck of a racket. So if you're thinking about this machine, it is a CSA approved machine, so it does follow all the codes. It's one of the few 3D printers on the market today that actually is CSA approved. Hey, there's HVAC A to Z. How am I doing? I'm doing very well, Ken. Thank you. Thank you. How are you guys doing? I want to hear about you guys and what have you guys been printing lately? I'm working on Superman. I'm going to begin painting him again starting tomorrow. I'll just let me just cut to that camera. So I'm going to be painting this guy again tomorrow, or starting on him. This painting tutorial is going to be up on Patreon. For any of you that are Patreon subscribers at the $5 level or more, you'll get to see how I'm painting this. And yes, I am painting this all with a brush. Everything's being done with a brush. So no airbrushing on him. When this is done, he's going to go into a pile of 3D prints. And let me see if I can get some more light on him. There we go. When this is done, it will be going into a collection of 3D prints that I will be putting up for auction at the end of the year. And partially it's going to be to help raise money for our studio, because we need some upgrades to our studio. And part of that funding is also going to go to a charity, probably the Calgary Children's Hospital. That seems to be one of the big charities. Or we may go to the Foothills, do the Foothills neonatal care unit for infants. So this is one that I'm working on that just kind of washed it all out, didn't it? Let me just turn down that light a little bit, see if that helps. And then of course, you guys haven't seen these for a while, so I'm going to bring them in and you guys can have a look at them. And these are all for Richard Taylor because he won our contest on these, and I haven't finished painting them yet. And Richard's probably wondering, where are my figures? So here we have Han Solo. You guys have seen me work on him quite a bit. I just need a little bit of work in the eyes, a little bit of work in the hair, finish up tidying up all of this stuff. And then we will be good to go with Mr. Han Solo here. Then we'll get the base done, and that will be that with Han Solo. So he's pretty much in the final throes of being done. And now we'll just move on to Luke. Luke needs a little bit more work done on his skin and of course his hair. I have to finish his eyebrows and his eyes, of course. His tunic here, we'll finish that up, and then we'll do the base on him as well. And finally, her princess herself. She is pretty much done. Again, I just have to finish up the metal work, her brassiere here, and do all the last bit of detailing on her hair, and then finish the base. And she is completely finished. So once we get to that stage, you guys will get to see it. This light actually could have been one brighter, couldn't it? There we go. That's probably better. So you can probably see her better now. But this particular model, again, is part of the 3 that Richard will be getting. And again, congratulations to Richard for winning these. And then I'll probably do another set of these again, and they'll probably go into the auction. My wife is pretty upset that she never gets to have them on our display for our Star Wars stuff. But I'm going to be doing another sort of interesting bit, and it has to do with these guys. And we have walls here, as you guys can see. We've got some different walls, and we're going to use these, so you guys can see these. We're going to use these to do a diorama. I have a number of them. I still have a number of them to print. And these pieces for the dioramas will be lit up. They'll be painted. They'll be finished. They'll be weathered, so the Death Star has a little bit of a weathered look to it. There are frames that go on the back of these so that you can set them up for lighting and that sort of thing. North Gus Sawyer, welcome, sir. What kind of plastic am I using? I am actually using PLA for all of this. I'm using the house brand of PLA from spool3d.ca. You guys can all go check that out. They've changed their formula, and Ray knows a little bit about this. They've changed their formula, or changed their, I shouldn't say the formula, they changed the way that they're having the filament made now. So now they have all Pantone colors, and those Pantone colors are going to be the same from if you bought a roll today, and if you needed the same color 6 months from now, they will be exactly the same. Whereas with the older stuff, every time that they got a new shipment in, if it wasn't right on, it was off about a shade or two up or down. So now with the Pantone coloring, you're assured to get the same coloring all the time, each and every time. So I definitely encourage you guys, if you're looking for some good filament, check out spool3d.ca's new filament. It is a great quality filament, for lack of a better word. Hey, where the heck is Brian tonight? Benny Brady. Ben, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Brian is under the weather. He phoned me this morning and told me that things were just kind of catching up with him. He hasn't had a lot of sleep lately, and we're letting him rest up and get better so he can be back with us next week to talk about the Creosum mod. What else we got here? Thanks for the welcome, first time here. Well, welcome, North Gus Sawyer. I hope I'm saying that right. Yeah, he's sick. That's right. Brian is sick. So, what paints do I use? Well, I use these things. I use Liquitex Basics. I use Vallejo Model Air. I also use the Vallejo Regulars. I use some Tamayas. I use FW inks. I have quite a collection of paint that I use from time to time when I'm painting different models, and I will be putting together this auction closer to the end of the year. We are trying to get to EARF this year, so I just want to remind you guys that the little symbol down there is turned on, so if you guys want to do a super chat, the symbol is turned on there, so feel free. You don't have to, but it is a way to support the show, and if you stay here long enough, you can support the show as well, just by staying here. Georgia, welcome. Heads up for next Wednesday, Rick Landon. Yes, I can give you a heads up for Wednesday, Rick. What's coming out on Wednesday is we have our look at Filament.ca's Purge filament. Now, they came out with a cleaning and lubricating filament that works. I've tried it. I did a video on it. It cleans out the nozzle really, really well. all of the crap and corruption that might have been building up in your nozzle will come out. However, let me just say a caveat to that. If you're using a Creality stock hot end setup, you may not get all of the excess plastic out because of the way that that particular unit is designed. Nebraska, Larry Bibby. Hello to Nebraska and Cornhusker. Oh, yeah, okay. Why don't I read things? Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and a like for the show. Raymond Emsley tonight is our moderator, so give him some love as well. Raymond's a great guy, very knowledgeable about 3D printing, and you know, maybe we'll have him on as a special guest host one week. Any good for nylon? Is the purge filament any good for nylon? It absolutely is. It's good for all different types of filaments that may be clogging up your hot end. With nylon though, if you've got some, I would do atomic pulls with nylon because it does grab all of that junk that's inside the heat break, and it does pull it all out, so I definitely would have a look at that. Arizona, Eric Widemark. Hello, sir. Wow, we've got a lot of people in here tonight. Thank you. Again, I want to remind you guys that we do have the Mayflowers on till the end of the month on our Teespring t-shirt, mugs, and all that other kind of jazz. If you want to sport some of the first layer gear, go there, use the code for Mayflowers, all caps, and you'll get 20% off your order. And I keep looking over here because this is where my monitor is so that I can see the chat. So I apologize. So yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell as far as that stuff goes. So that's coming out on Wednesday is the Purge Filament. And then we've got episodes already recorded all the way up to the end of July. I'll be going back into the studio next week to do another batch of videos. We've got some great stuff coming up. So you guys definitely want to stick around and make sure that you've got that notification bell turned on so that you can see it. Let's talk a little bit about the class that I've been doing. I'm doing another class for anybody that is in the Calgary or Calgary area or Alberta area and wants to learn how to build a 3D printer or assemble a purchased 3D printer and learn a little bit about Cura at the same time. I will be doing another one-day build and learn at SATE, and you can sign up for that by going to the Spool 3D website and just typing build and learn into the search and pre-ordering. You'll get yourself an Ender 3 Pro, a roll of filament, an extra SD card with a whole bunch of extras that I've put on there, and you'll get me for the whole day. So I will help you build your machine, and then in the afternoon after we come back from lunch, it's all Cura all afternoon. So by the time that you leave there, you should be confident enough to slice your own models and start experimenting a little bit with the slicer Cura 4.0. David Harmon, hello, sir. I'm getting ready to upgrade to the SKR 1.3 board on my Ender 5. It's gonna be awesome. Ben, that's great. I mean, take pictures, let us know how that worked out for you. I know Brian hasn't put his in yet, and I'm going to probably order mine pretty soon. So I want to try it. We kind of got beat to the punch by Chris Riley and Shep over at Shep's channel. So they kind of beat us to the punch on that, but that's okay. That, you know, it's friendly rivalry, and we wish those guys all the success as well as, you know, I'm sure they do us as well. So, and you get a hug and an autograph too. You don't get an autograph unless you want one. But we do a picture at the end of the class, so if you are in the area and you want to learn how to build a 3D printer with me. I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for me to finish up the Prusa Bear build. I'm getting back on that when I'm back in the studio next Saturday during the day, and I'll probably do the live stream from there next Saturday as well. So you guys are going to get to see all of that. and we're going into the hot end, and we're going to start tackling the electronics and the power supply as well, and we'll get started on buttoning everything up, and then we'll jump into firmware, so I can show you guys how to set up the firmware for that build using the MKS Gen L with the Trinamic drivers. David Harmon, SKRs are very sweet. I want to learn a little bit more about them. They are 32-bit architecture. Marlin 2.0 is supposed to be, when it's released, 32-bit compliant, so it takes advantage of the 32-bit architecture. Right now, 1.1.9, I believe some of the nightly builds are experimenting with it right now, but it's not fully implemented, so you're still not going to be running in 32-bit, from what I understand. Now, I could be wrong about that. Somebody can please correct me if I am wrong about that. Did I test the MKS Gen 32-bit board? Is it great? I have not seen an MKS 32-bit board yet. I hope to see one soon. I have a Large in my office that I'm contemplating putting onto the Prusa, because that is a true 32-bit board, and it has a touch screen as well. So I may be going that route. When the MKS 32-bit boards are available, I'm sure I'll get one and talk to you guys about it and go through all of the ins and outs. Let me just see if they've got a 32-bit board. I wasn't sure that they had a 32-bit board. I could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time I've been wrong. Of course, I need a keyboard. There we go. Just have to bring it over. I have a problem. I can't talk and type at the same time. Question, which 32-bit board is MKS considered? Okay, so it is an S-base board. It looks like it has drivers already implemented into it. It's the MKS S-base version 1.3. It's a 32-bit controller board with an ARM Cortex M3 LPC 1768 microcontroller, and it supports 12 and 24 volts. Just trying to see what steppers. The onboard, they're DRV 8825s, so they're not silent steppers on that board. And it is compatible with their touch screens. So, like all their boards are compatible with their touch screens. So let's see what you guys are saying. Joe Mike is live and flooded where he is live streaming. Wow, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope everything's okay. David Harmon, I got 2.0 Marlin compiled for my SKR 1.3S. How's it working? Is it working well? I want to know that. Do the slicer program has to match the 8-bit controller, or does it matter for slicer? The slicer doesn't matter. All the slicer is, for lack of a better word, a conversion tool. So it converts that 3D model, which is in virtual space, into G-code, which the computer understands, or the brain of your 3D printer understands. I'm looking to upgrade my CR10S with an S-Gen soon. Well, DeRose. Did I pronounce that right? DeRose? MKS has two versions of 32-bit boards, the S-base internal drivers and the S-gen external drivers. I haven't seen the S-gen board. And this board here, of course, we haven't gotten in at spool, and we carry a lot of MKS-based boards, so I'll be curious to see how that comes out. There's the S-base again. And those work on SmoothieWare, just so you guys are aware. Those work on SmoothieWare. All right, so, yeah, David, I would definitely like to hear what you've got going with 2.0 Marlin. What build are you in? And are you in one of the bug fixes, or are you in the nightly build program? I'd be very interested to hear about that. Ben's saying that I want the MKS Gen board, not the S-base board. I would rather the Gen board because then I can put on whatever steppers I want. And as you guys know, I'm a big fan of the 2208s. The 2208s. Those are the ones that I'm a big fan of. AliExpress. You've got one there for AliExpress. Let's go have a look. So, it's $34.31 European currency. I don't want euro. Let's go to English. And let's make this Canadian dollars. Can we make it Canadian dollars? I hope so. Oh, there it is. So let's see how much this would be in Canadian dollars. Okay, so the MKS S-Gen version 1.0 is $51.71 Canadian from AliExpress. It has all the usual suspects on it. 32-bit Cortex M3 LPC 1769 main chip with 120 megahertz main frequency. Very well done. Use open source SmoothieWare firmware. So that one, again, is not compatible with Marlin, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken, but SmoothieWare, I believe, is its own animal altogether. Yeah, David, definitely. We'll coffee in the next few weeks. Yeah, so you're using the bug fix. Okay, that makes sense. And most smoothie boards are compatible with Marlin. You're correct. That's okay, DeRose. It's Canada. French is one of our languages. Although I don't speak it and I don't read it. What model of Prusa kit so I can pull a manual for it next Saturday's class? Well, this is the Prusa Bear build, and it's something I've been working on slowly but surely. There's several episodes up already on the build. When we get to the final episode of this multi-part series on the Prusa Bear, that's when I will reveal all of the pricing, all of the bill of materials, everything that you need to build your own, including I'll have a link to the firmware that I used. So everything will be available. So if you wanted to build your own, you could certainly do that. It is all based on 2040 extrusion. And I got to tell you, everything was sourced online or at spool3d.ca. And I will tell you from my experience that no, it's not going to have a Rambo board or a Rambo Mini, just because I find those boards too expensive. And again, I've got access to other boards like the MKS Gen L, the MKS Gen 1.4, any pretty much any board that I can put my own drivers on, so I can make it truly silent. It's not going to have all of the functionality of the Prusa menus, but it will be, for all intent and purposes, a Prusa style printer. Gunner may need to edit the pin file. Okay, that makes sense. Same CPU as the Aztege X5 GT, should be able to run M2 on the board. That's from Gunner Fryer. Hello, Gunner. Excuse me. I have a little bit of a weird question, Larry Bibby. What do you know about the new 2209 drivers? I have not seen any paperwork yet on the 2209 drivers. I know they are available. I'm going to dig some up this week so I can do an episode on them. Will not be on long, just checking in, rebuilding a 3TB drive. Oh, okay. Well, hello, Ron. Ron from the Canadian Maker Project. Anything close to Folger 2020 Prusa? Rick Landon, yes, it's going to be fairly close. The Prusa build files you can find both on GitHub and on Thingiverse with a full bill of their materials. But we're doing some different things with it. So, and then that machine will probably become an experimental machine, because we may take out the solid rails that we're using with the sleeve or the bearing and rods, and we may end up going to linear bearings, which will be a better workaround. Have you played with Creosa much since Brian's video? Interested to hear from someone else that's had well-turned profile. Yes, I have played with it. It is working quite nicely. I'm working, most people know that I'm not a Cura guy. I use Simplify 3D for most of the stuff that I slice for here at home and also for at work. But I have been using the Creosa mod on the 2 Ender 3s that I have at the shop. And I can tell you definitively the prints are much better. So, do I think that that Creosa mod is definitely worth its weight? Certainly is. If you can get it running, I wish I knew more about the back end of it, because then I could help you guys with some of the issues that you're having. I know Raymond solved one of the issues relating to Macs, because he's a Mac guy. There's been some issues where guys have not been able to get it to load properly. Brian has been in touch with the developer, and I think they're going to be working some stuff out behind the scenes, so we'll see some new updates and stuff. And as news comes out, we will let you guys know, certainly. Oh, Brian's the one who told, or Ben's the one who told Brian about it. Okay. So maybe Ben can answer some of the questions. So Rick, you've tested it on your machine and the mod failed a filament feed. That seems odd. Mine hasn't failed at all. Mine's been actually working quite well. Again, maybe Ben or Brian or Ben can answer that for you. If he can, that's great. Ben, Prusa printers are overrated. Yes and no. I don't want to get into a pissing match about it, but Prusa has a good product. Joseph Prusa did something that nobody's done in the 3D printing space. He designed something that worked for him. He kept up with that design, and he moved forward. If you've noticed, Prusa only has one model of printer that has been made into different levels. So you've got a Mark 1, you've got a Mark 2, you've got a Mark 3. And that's to do with the improvements. The overall design of that printer has not changed in many, many years. They've beefed up the frame, certainly. They've added some extra things in the hardware. They're now working with other companies like E3D and Rambo. So they get their stuff direct and they get it to their own specifications. So when you're buying an actual Prusa machine, you are buying something that's gone through a lot of rigorous testing, and has a good, I would say, a good builder base behind it. Now, as far as getting one from the Czech Republic over to Canada or even into the US, it can be fairly expensive. I think for the money, there are other printers out there that you could go and purchase today and not have to wait. I think it's a nice touch that they put a bag of candy in with the printer. However, that bag of candy can be bought at any Walmart in the continental US or Canada. So, Filament ran out too far on the mod settings. Okay, so it was over extruding filament. Okay. I'll check that this week when I'm in the shop. Kira has an app data folder that needs to be blown away for it to install properly. Okay. DeRossi, TMC 2208s is the ones that I am a big fan of. I've used the 2130s as well. I think for the money, the 2208s work just fine if you put them into 16 or 32 microsteps. The Lunster, yikes, that room looks like a fire hazard. It is a bit of a fire hazard behind me, yes. Not only do I have a little corner in this room that I do all my painting in, but behind me is where we store a lot of our stuff and stuff that we're getting rid of. So for now, it does look a bit of a mess. I do apologize for that. I'm going to put a curtain there so nobody can see it. What else we got going on? How much time we got left? Oh, we still got we still got a good half hour left. All right. That works well. Okay. So, when it comes to printers, I'm going to be experimenting pretty soon with a mod I've been seeing a little bit about, where the Arduino Mega comes into play. I don't want to say too much about it, but it's on top of any board that you're using now. It's to control additional elements of your printer that you may want to add later on. So I'm going to get into that at a later date. But I do have many Arduino Megas. We're still working on the project for the robots. We've got 2 robots we're working on at Spool 3D. Derek Solomons and myself are both working on the InMove robot. The head for mine is at the shop right now. The computer that I do everything on is right over here. Rick Landon backed out 8mm and cram is back in and knocked the filament out of line. Okay. So did it retract 8mm? Or is that in the retraction setting? You may have to change the retraction setting. That's what I'm getting from that. So if you're new here, welcome, of course. If this is your first time, welcome. I do want to point out to you that if you want to know when we do brand new episodes and you want to know when we do our live streams, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Also go ahead and hit that bell so you get notified every time that we've got something going on. We used to stream to not only Facebook, but YouTube. I'm going to turn the slide off now. There we go. We used to stream to Facebook and YouTube and Twitch and Periscope all at the same time. We've given up on that just because for us and the bandwidth that we need for it, it just doesn't seem to work. And there's a little hiccup between Restream.io, which is the company that we were using to send all of our data out to these different CDNs. So we just went straight to YouTube, and that's where we're building everything. We've had a great week, and it's thanks to Brian. In all of it, this week has been thanks to Brian because of his episode on the Creosum mod. We have increased over 300, maybe 400 subscribers in the last 3 days. So thank you very much. We now have our own subreddit, which we're going to start to work on and build up. It's called the First Layer on subreddit under 3D printing. So go over there, check it out, add your comments, start a thread, and let's keep that going. No more questions over here, so we're doing okay. Or comments. I probably missed a couple, but I apologize about that if I have. Tomorrow I'm back in the shop. I've got a bunch of stuff to do to get caught up on for next week. We spent 2 days this past week on last Saturday and Monday. We were in there recording for 2 days. So because we had a holiday here on Monday, so pushed back things a little bit. But we are going to get back in there tomorrow. I'm going to go in this tomorrow afternoon and do some work in there and just catch up on some of the repairs that I have to do on other people's printers. And, oh yeah, there's a Prusa. Speaking of which, there's a Prusa on my bench that I have to put a new LCD display into, and I may have to do a little bit of modification to the code for that. Rick Landon, I learned a lot. Thank you. I learn a lot all the time. Hey, Johnny Gardner, where is that? Where's what? I'm not sure what you're looking for, Johnny. But we do have Super Chat turned on. So if you want to help us get to EARF this year, it's a countdown to EARF. We're trying to raise some extra capital so that we can get there. And it'll probably be Brian and myself going. And when we get there, we're not taking a table, but we are going to cover the event as media because it is a RepRap festival after all. And what is our show all about? Well, it's all about 3D printing. So you guys know that because you're here every Saturday with me and you guys faithfully watch the show. So I will say this, that we got a lot going on and we do want to get to EARF. And so if you can help us out, get there, great. If not, that's okay too. Just keep watching because our YouTube money will go into there, our AdSense money from YouTube. Thank you very much, Jerry. Jerry says thanks. Brian, get better soon. Jerry, you have yourself a great night, my friend, and we hope to see you back here. By the way, great video this week. Jerry, if you didn't know, put out a video to his updated makerspace. And I'm going to do one here. Once I get this room cleaned up, I'll do a makerspace video as well. So what do you think I should change on my CR10S Pro board to, Johnny Gardner? Johnny, I don't think you should touch that board. I think you should just leave it alone. That board has Trinamic drivers on it already. I think it's fine the way that it is. If you are planning to go to something a little bit more robust, I would say go to a 32-bit board. Once I do my testing on the SRK or SKR board, I will either recommend it or not recommend it. We'll see what happens. So that's pretty much it for me tonight. I don't have much to talk about because I had planned on talking about Creosum. Thank you very much, Johnny. That will go to our EARF fund. Johnny just hit us up with a super chat for $20. Oh, it died. Okay. Well, if it died, how old is that Pro? It can't be that old, Johnny. If it's still under warranty, because electronics on the Creality printers are covered for 1 year. So if you are still within that 1 year warranty period, I would contact Creality or the person that you bought it from and get a replacement board. Can you put a coated nozzle on the Ender 3 and the CR10S Pro, David Clark's asking? Coated, like as in a stainless steel coated, a hardened steel, yes, you can. SD card reader, long cord. See you next Saturday, Larry Hall. SD card reader, long cord. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Is the cord itself gone? Have you tried plugging an SD card directly into the machine? I know that sounds like one of those tech channels that goes, have you turned it on and off, ma'am? I'm just having myself a can of cola here. Johnny, if you can, contact me during the week. We'll get into a one-on-one online here. And if you've got a webcam at home and I can see what's happening with your printer, I might be able to walk you through a solution for it. Rick Landon, you sell one. Yes, we do sell an SD card reader that plugs in. It has a ribbon cable on it. You have to make sure that you order the right one because recently we've been sending out the wrong ones. But that has now been fixed in our inventory system, so the description better reflects what it is. Yes, we do sell that. So that would be a way to go. So, you know, that's pretty much it for me tonight, guys. I don't have a whole lot. I was hoping Brian was going to be here, but he's under the weather. So I do wish him all the best. And we will see him again here pretty soon. Again, thank you guys all for showing up tonight, sticking around, waiting until we got started. We want to, Ben Brady, who's been a long time member of our community, he's got a YouTube channel. Go check that out. Have you ever noticed that strange design of the left side y-axis eccentric on the Ender 3? I go through a specific procedure when I'm setting up the Ender 3, so I use machinist blocks to make sure that the gantry is sitting level before I tighten up the eccentric spacers. Oh, you're talking about the bed. Okay, on the bed. I read that wrong. I'm sorry. On the bed, I find that if you start in the center and then do the two outside ones, your bed should be fine because there is only two on the Ender 3. I'm thinking of the CR10S. The two on, start with one side and then go to the other and just make sure that everything lines up perfectly. Well, thank you again, guys. I'm going to get out of here tonight. I'm going to go spend some time with my wife, watch a movie, and you guys have yourselves a great weekend. I'll see you back for our Wednesday show when we talk about the purge filament, and then we'll be back here next Saturday for another live stream. So until then, my friends, you guys have yourselves a great weekend.